Why are Democrat governors angrier about federal law enforcement helping clean up their streets than they are about the fact that those streets need to be cleaned up to begin with? It shows a real sickness in the head.
Sickness in the head. Should be an acronym for that. I think there should be some kind of because it defines the Democrat Party. Why J.D. Vance, Vice President of the United States, in the Oval Office yesterday with the president, wondering aloud why the Democrats prefer more crime rather than less crime. Might sound peculiar to you, but if you're a Democrat voter, I think you understand that more crime is better. Isn't that true? Isn't that great? We have Democrats on the loose everywhere. We're going to need a whole lot of mental institutions. You see him yesterday in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where the Democratic National Committee was having a powwow. And they are champions of crime, champions of criminals, champions of illegal alien gang members, particularly if they're wife beaters and baby mama beaters. The Democrats love that stuff. Welcome back to our Humble Radio broadcast on this wonderful American Tuesday. Have you noticed global warming went away? Global warming has vanished. It's still August in Washington, D.C. I think it was like 64 degrees when I woke up this morning. I'm a little concerned about a coming ice age. I'm going to start looking to see if the armadillos are headed south again, like they were doing in the 1970s when the last ice age was coming. Kind of a big deal. The Democrats, they love looting. They love murder. They love illegal alien gang members. They love crime, let's face it. Their mayors love crime. The mayors of big cities where there are lots and lots of crimes. The Democrats love crime. And they don't like the police. They want to defund the police. They vilify and demonize the police. They want to jail the police. They want to torture the police. But if you're a criminal, they want you to date their daughters. They don't even have any daughters, and they still want you to date their daughters. Amazing stuff. And who do they love? They love Kilmore Abrego Garcia. They love him. He's an illegal alien. He's from El Salvador. And, Democrats, they'd like to go to El Salvador and meet with him and have pina coladas, taking walks in the rain. Is that how the lyrics go in that thing? They like pina coladas, taking walks in the rain. I think that's it. The Democrats and holding hands with Kilmore Abrego Garcia, the MS-13 gang member, human trafficker, baby mama beater, wife beater, restraining orders, hero of the Democrat Party. They love him. If you're an illegal alien that was given a commercial driver's license in California, and then you drove entirely across the country to Florida, where you're responsible for 3 Americans being killed in a terrible car crash, you're a hero of the Democrat Party. You're a hero of the Democrat Party. If you're law enforcement, you're a villain to the Democrat Party. National Guard, U.S. military villain to the Democrat Party. Speaking of which, they've got occasionally Democrats have been allowed into the U.S. military, which is a little dicey. It's kind of complicated. But they've got one who joined the U.S. military. He went to Lafayette Park, which is in front of the White House, across the street from the White House, where, because yesterday President Trump signed an executive order provoking the left, as is so easy to do. The president signed an executive order barring, making it illegal. We'll see. There will be legal challenges, and it's complicated, but the Supreme Court, I don't think you can just sign an executive order to make it illegal, but that's what President Trump did yesterday, and a Democrat showed up in front of the White House and burned the American flag. Now, the Democrats are so stupid. How stupid are they? So stupid that we had one at the DNC gathering in Minneapolis yesterday saying that he said he was going to burn a Trump flag, right? Is that what he said, Michael? Yeah, he's going to burn a Trump flag. Yeah, Tim Walz, he was the man who was going to be vice president at the DNC, and he's going to burn a Trump flag. Oh, yeah, Trump's going to make it illegal to burn the American flag? I'm going to burn the Trump flag. So, that's kind of missing the point once again. He's the governor of one of our 50 states. But the frauds and fakes at NBC Fake News. Flag burning incident near White House leads to arrest hours after Trump executive order. The arrested man identified himself as a combat veteran. But the thing is, Democrats can identify themselves as anything they want. Tim Walz identified himself as a combat veteran, didn't he? Then it turned out he's never, he went to Iraq as a governor on a like a congressional delegation or something, but not while in uniform. Unlike J.D. Vance, who did, as a U.S. Marine, go to Iraq in fatigues. But never mind that. The arrested man identified himself as a combat veteran, said he was burning the American flag in protest of an executive order Trump signed Monday targeting flag burning. And this is kind of when I saw President Trump did this yesterday, I've got to say I laughed a little, I chuckled a little. And I said, well, the Supreme Court, it was 1989 that the Supreme Court ruled that it's a First Amendment speech to burn the American flag. It's protected speech. President Trump, he knows how to prod them and poke them and make their crazy come out, because it's just dying to come out all day, every day. They're crazy, that is. And so President Trump, he poked them yesterday. The Supreme Court, I'm sure, will have something to say about this. There will be challenges and all that. But nevertheless, President Trump, genius when it comes to provoking the lunatics who, many of whom ought to be in cages. And now we've got this. Federal authorities Monday arrested a man across the street from the White House after he set an American flag on fire. The day President Donald Trump signed an executive order intended to crack down on flag burning. The news media, they've been all over the term crack down. Sometimes they use it as one word. Sometimes they use it as two words. It's either a word or a term. But they love crackdown. Joe Biden and the Democrats, they were engaged in all kinds of crackdowns, too. Not to mention Hunter Biden. He's been involved in all kinds of crackdowns, but that's like a hoedown, but involving crack, And then, leave the hoe out of it. See, the man who identified himself as a 20-year combat veteran in a video posted on social media by the news outlet, he said in this interesting, because the Bulwark is the name of the news outlet. I'm burning this flag as a protest to that illegal fascist president. They love calling everybody fascists. And then they kill 1 million babies a year, including about 40% of the black population, and they give out awards for it, which is kind of ironic. And then they firebomb the Jewish governor's house. And then they firebomb the Jewish people marching for peace in Colorado. And then they firebomb a lot of stuff, don't they? Elon Musk, and then they shot President Trump, and they shot Congressman Scalise, and they tried to wipe out the whole baseball team. And that was a Bernie Sanders volunteer in that case. Aren't they amazing? But they love calling everybody fascists. And it's kind of funny that they're wearing armbands and goose-stepping everywhere now. That's ironic, isn't it? No sense of irony. So he said, I'm burning the flag in protest, the illegal, and he was called fascist in Minneapolis yesterday, too, wasn't he? And he's called fascist on MSNBC, wasn't he? Because he's the crackdown, they want to crack down. But not on murder. They want to support murder. If you're against murder, they're against you. They're for murder. But he said he's burning this flag in protest, the illegal fascist president that sits in that house, he said. He pointed toward the White House from Lafayette Square, which is the park right in front of the White House across Pennsylvania Avenue. Secret Service said in a statement that it detained the man around 6:15 p.m. Eastern Time, that's yesterday, for igniting an object, and said that it was, he was turned over to the U.S. Park Police, as might be the case, because they have control. That's federal property, and D.C. police don't own that property, don't own that park. Park Police said they arrested the man for violating a statute that prohibits lighting a fire in a public park. The arrest came hours after Trump, they don't say President Trump or Donald Trump or anything, Trump signed an executive order to crack down, there's crackdown again, put crackdown in every sentence, on desecration of the American flag in connection with inciting violence or violating other laws. Now, President Trump found a fun loophole in the burning flag. It's not just the act of burning the flag in the executive order that he wants to make illegal. It's if you're burning the American flag in an effort to incite violence. because inciting violence is against the law. And if you're burning the American flag, say in front of a crowd of veterans or something, this guy says he's a veteran, and he may be, but he may not be. And because, Democrats, he's definitely a Democrat. I'll give him that. Amazing stuff. But if you're committing an act which is intended to incite violence, then that is illegal already. So it kind of makes that. But what's really happening here is that just as President Trump has incited the Democrats to come out in favor of crime, incited the Democrats to come out in favor of murder, incited the Democrats to come out in favor of illegal alien gang members that beat their baby mamas, right? He does something, and then they respond by saying, oh, no, we're not going to let you fight crime. We're not going to let you reduce the number of murders in Washington, D.C. We're not going to let you make Washington a beautiful and safe city. We're going to fight against you hammer and sickle all the way, right? And now he's incited the Democrats to come out in favor of flag burning, which we know they are. We've got all kinds of videos, and we play audio here of Democrats burning the American flag at political conventions and elsewhere. We've got one of our favorite sound bites is a Democrat burning the American flag. This was at the Democratic convention where Hillary Clinton was nominated to become their nominee. They wanted her to be president. She never will be, which is great. But the Democrats were burning the American flag in Philadelphia while the Democratic convention nominating Hillary Clinton was going on. And it was pretty hilarious because this guy set the American flag on fire, and he was dancing on the American flag, and he set himself on fire. Now, what's not funny about that? Everybody can see the humor in that. And there was a police officer there who they want to defund and they vilify, who jumped in and tried to save the Democrat from burning himself.
Move back! Watch it! You're on fire! You're on fire, stupid!
You're on fire, stupid. That should be a T-shirt with a picture of that guy on there.
You're on fire, stupid!
You're on fire because the Democrats love burning the American flag, and we know that here at the Chris Plante Show. We've known that for many years, that Democrats love burning the American flag. President Trump, by saying we're going to make it illegal to burn the American flag if you're inciting violence, has inspired Democrats to start burning the American flag. Now, maybe they buy stock at American flag companies or something because they know Democrats will buy lots of American flags just to burn them. And the Democrat Party, very, very unwell, mentally ill people. So we got that, and that's kind of fun stuff. By the way, overnight, in the last 24 hours, 87 additional arrests in Washington, D.C., a number of illegal guns seized. We got Democrat burning the flag. And also we've got an Obama judge, a Democrat judge, who's a Democrat named Paula Zinnis. X-I-N-I-S, nice Greek name, but she's a disgrace to Greek democracy. And she's an Obama appointee to a Maryland court. And she yesterday said, oh, no, you cannot deport Kilmore Abrego Garcia to Uganda or to El Salvador or to Costa Rica or to any place else. You can't deport him just because he's an illegal alien who's come into the country illegally, repeatedly, and engaged in human smuggling, human trafficking for years, just because he beat his baby mama and then she married him while he was in prison and then he beat his wife. Just because he's an illegal alien gang member with MS-13, he gets to stay in the United States because Judge Paula Zinnis is an Obama appointee, and they are not on our side. They're not on our side at all. So we've got that going for us. And I got to tell you, the Democrats gathering in Minneapolis with the Democratic National Committee, and they revealed themselves again. I think that there was a flag on stage. I assume they burned it, to show how free they are afterward, and then probably looted a shopping mall or something. But they're members of Congress are not on the side of. So we've got that. Yes, we do. The New York Times is angry about the push-up, pull-up contest with RFK Jr. and Pete Hegseth. Very angry. Shouldn't be done because everybody should be fat, drunk, and stupid, right? Was that what Dean Wormer said? Right? Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life. But the Democrats, they're shooting for Dean Vernon Wormer's worst fear, that America will become full of members of Delta House who were more fun than Omega House, that's for sure. Isn't that great? And we've gone 12 days in Washington without a single homicide, although a Democrat did shoot a man in Southeast after midnight last night. But fortunately, the man is alive and looks like he's going to live. How's crime going in Chicago? They're fighting for more crime in Chicago, the Democrats are. Got the governor and the mayor coming up out of Chicago as well. We're at 888-630-9625.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
So we have the flag burner is apparently a man named Dave Carey. Dave Carey burned the American flag. Lafayette Park, Lafayette Square, across the street from the White House, Casablanca. And he's yelling about Trump, that fascist living in the White House, Trump. And so he says he's a 20-year Army vet and a combat vet. And apparently he doesn't like Trump. And he thinks that he can make a statement by burning the American flag in Lafayette Park, where it's illegal to start a fire of any kind. And so he was arrested for starting a fire of any kind in Lafayette Park. And he yelled and screamed and made a video, and or somebody made a video and posted it of allegedly Dave Carey.
There's a First Amendment right to burn the American flag.
Doesn't mean you have to do it.
In that house right there signed an executive order today saying that it was illegal to burn the American flag. No president can make a law, period. No Congress shall make a law infringing on First Amendment rights. I'm burning this flag as a protest.
No Congress.
That illegal fascist president that sits in that house.
Illegal fascist president. Now he's burning the American flag because he wants to show, and it's Dave Carey, I've got to say, the mere fact that it's protected by the First Amendment doesn't mean that you must do it. Doesn't make it a requirement, Dave Carey. But the illegal fascist president in the White House makes clear what your political worldview is, and then, of course, burning the American flag, making additionally clear what your political worldview is. I think I know who you voted for on Election Day. I think you gave it away. All right, now the people at Newsweek Alleged magazine, they had, I'm not sure if I said the flag burner was Dave Carey. I don't think I did. But his name is apparently Jay Carey, J-A-Y Carey. Who is Jay Carey, ? Newsweek magazine headline. Veteran, according to him, who burned U.S. flag after Trump's executive order. Newsweek magazine really rankled by this. A 22-year Army veteran was arrested near the White House after setting fire to an American flag on Monday, hours after President Donald Trump signed an executive order seeking to punish those who burn the American flag. All Democrats. Jay Carey, a retired combat veteran and Bronze Star recipient, kind of like Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland. He got a Bronze Star 20 years after the fact or something like that. Say, hey, I'm going to be running for president. Maybe I could get a retroactive Bronze Star medal. But Jay Carey, they say, Newsweek says, a retired combat veteran. Didn't Tim Walz say that, too? And Bronze Star recipient was taken into custody after the incident in Lafayette Park, Fox 5 reported. Newsweek magazine is going with what Fox 5 reported. Newsweek has contacted Carey and the U.S. Park Police for comment via emails sent outside of regular business hours, meaning they have nobody on the record saying anything. The Supreme Court, I believe they mean of the United States of America, the Supreme Court ruled in a 5-4 decision in Texas versus Johnson in 1989 with the late Justice Antonin Scalia, a conservative icon in the majority, that the First Amendment protects flag burning as legitimate political expression. They're hanging on Antonin Scalia. See how they do that? Isn't that interesting? Just wonderful. My best girl and I met Antonin Scalia once. We had dinner with him at the home of our friends, Bill Blatty and Peter Blatty. Great evening. Antonin Scalia sang to my best girl, sang to her. That was a great night at dinner. But the order Trump signed, while acknowledging that the court's ruling in the 1989 case said there is still room to prosecute flag burning if it is, quote, likely to incite imminent lawless action, end quote, or amount to fighting words. Civil liberties advocates and constitutional scholars have questioned both the legality and the merit of Trump's action. I've got to say, there is an article in the Sun, the New York Sun. The New York Sun headline is, Trump lays flag-burning trap for the left that catches some conservatives, too. And that's the New York Sun headline, laying a trap for them once again. And they walk into his traps almost every day, don't they? It's almost amazing that they walk into his trap again, and his traps, plural, again and again and again, over and over. But isn't that amazing? In videos posted on social media, Jay Carey was seen telling passers-by that Trump's executive order violates the First Amendment. And according to the Supreme Court in 1989, that's true. But then Trump added language about if it is intended to or if it is likely to incite violence and if they're fighting words. Then so it introduces another legal argument, and we'll see where it goes. And I would guess that the Supreme Court would today probably uphold what the Supreme Court said in 1989, that it's protected expression, that it is free speech. That would be I'm not an attorney that argues before the Supreme Court, but that would be my guess from this far out. At the same time, President Trump laid another trap, and the Democrats are going to walk into it 100 times before they realize that they're idiots. And I've got that coming up, too, that they're idiots, because they gathered in Minneapolis. And, he says, he's Jay Carey's, he's all about, I served for 20 years, and maybe that's true, and maybe it's not. I can't say, but it's what he says. Now, let's go to what President Trump said at the White House yesterday upon the occasion of signing the executive order, not the only executive order he signed yesterday. President Trump was extremely busy yesterday doing all kinds of things on camera for hours and hours and hours, covering the waterfront, all manner of things. And President Trump yesterday on signing the executive order.
When you burn the American flag, it incites riots at levels that we've never seen before. People go crazy.
I've never seen that.
In a way, both ways. There are some that are going crazy for doing it. There are others that are angry about them doing it. And what the penalty is going to be, if you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail, no early exits, no nothing. You get 1 year in jail.
Now, I'm not personally aware. I follow these things fairly closely. I'm not personally aware of any giant, on a scale never seen before, riots that have been started because Democrats are burning the American flag. For the most part, and we've talked about this over the years because the Democrats have burned a lot of American flags on a lot of occasions, and we have talked about it here. And for the most part, and what I've said about it is, it allows you to identify who the complete idiots are in the crowd, and they are probably trying to incite normally normal people, veterans, police officers, patriotic Americans, which Democrats are not, as an almost universal rule at this point. But President Trump said, well, you can start right if they're fighting words. If you're doing it to incite violence, then we can make it illegal because you're inciting, right? But I'm not aware the president said, well, riots like we've never seen before because people are burning the American flag. I'm not aware of that. I haven't seen that. I pay pretty close attention. President Trump continued.
If you burn a flag, what it does is incite to riot, and you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. You don't get 10 years, you don't get 1 month. You get 1 year in jail, and it goes on your record. And you will see flag burning stopping immediately, just like when I signed the Statute and Monument Act.
Well. Now, just last year in 2024, at the Democratic National Convention, where amazingly they nominated Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to be their ticket, the Democrats at that political convention were also busy burning the American flag.
This is what we think of your rag. This is what we think of your rag. The only acceptable American flag is one that is burned to charm.
What about global warming? See, somebody that was a normal person there who yelled mockingly, "What about global warming?" And he laughed. Did you hear that? And honestly, I think that's more likely the response you're going to get when these idiot Democrats come out and burn things and, stop firebombing Jewish governors' mansions and stop firebombing pro-Israel marchers in Colorado and stop torching businesses and stop looting and for God's sake, stop shooting people, would you? Democrats, stop murdering everybody. That'd be very helpful, I think. But President Trump yesterday, he provokes them. For the most part, they're too stupid to know that they're being provoked. And President Trump lays flag-burning trap for the left that catches some conservatives, too, because a number of conservatives have, it's true, and legal scholars have said, this has already been decided by the Supreme Court, and it's, why are you picking this fight? But the answer is, why are you picking this fight? The answer is that the Democrats respond, like the idiots that they are, to almost everything that President Trump does. And he gets a kick out of it, I think. Now, are we done with the President Trump audio on that? We are. And amazing stuff. But we do have the flag burner in Lafayette Park from yesterday, who is Jay Carey, and he claims to be a 20-year combat vet, and he claims that President Trump is an illegal president and a fascist and all that good stuff.
Do it for every single one of you American citizens. We burn this flag in protest to that president who feels that it's his right to do whatever he wants, make whatever law he wants, regardless if it's legal or illegal.
Regardless of whether it's legal or illegal. Did he have a bullhorn? Say he's got a bullhorn. So that's another sign of Democrat, isn't it? That's another clear sign. Not that you needed additional evidence since he's burning the American flag at Lafayette Park and calling Trump an illegal fascist. I think it's pretty clear that he's a Democrat and all that. But he's very angry.
My name is Jay Carey. I am a 20-year combat veteran, having served in the United States Army. It is our First Amendment right to burn this flag, regardless of what the president says. Yeah, that's what I thought. Nobody will enforce those illegal laws that president tries to make.
Now, I had to say, because in Minneapolis, the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, made a comment yesterday about burning a Trump flag, as though that was going to be illegal under this executive order or something like that. All right, Michael, let's go to the telephones. People are calling in about this episode, and let's go to Matt calling from Northern Virginia. Matthew, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hey, Chris. How are you?
Matt. I'm very well, Matt. What do you say?
Well, I'm not a legal scholar, but it just seems to me that we should match the same punishment for burning American flags as we do for pride flags or for Black Lives Matter flags, that they should just be equivalent. If we're going to hand out 15-year prison sentences for those, then it should be the same hate crime to burn an American flag.
Oh, that's very interesting. I do recall, where was it, a pride flag painted in an intersection, and somebody went, like a teenager, went in their car and did a donut in the car on the pride flag painted in an intersection. And I think that he got life in prison in a gulag or something like that. Because, the Democrats have to punish you for everything. Yeah, and pride flag, that's a hate crime, right? But burning the American flag, not a hate crime. That's fascinating.
Just my humble 2 cents.
I like it. Thank you, Matthew. I like that. It's very thoughtful because it's true. Thanks, Matt. That's good stuff. And that hadn't occurred to me, but it's true. The burn or desecrate the pride flag, and that's something that Democrats become very, very angry about. And a man in Iowa got 15 years. Wow, 15 years because he desecrated a pride flag. 4 arrests after pride flags vandalized at Atlanta Rainbow Crosswalk. See the crosswalk there, and that is WABE, and it's .org, so it's got to be a PBS, NPR, suckling on the taxpayer teaser. 4 arrested after pride flags vandalized at Atlanta Rainbow Crosswalks. And here the bike path is painted like a rainbow, and 4 teenagers were arrested June 24th. And it's PBS, isn't that amazing? Of 2025, June 24th of 2025. 4 teenagers were arrested early Tuesday morning and could face hate crime charges after police say they stole and cut up pride flags outside one of Atlanta's most well-known gay bars. Now, they stole somebody else's property and damaged property, but it wouldn't be a hate crime if you're just stealing somebody's property if it weren't pride flags, right? Atlanta police say they responded to a vandalism call at 1:40 a.m. on Tuesday at the intersection of 10th and Piedmont. Witnesses told police that 6 males stole pride flags and were cutting them up with a knife and riding around on scooters. Not scooters. In the middle of the intersection, the site of the Rainbow Crosswalks. They have that because the road is painted in the rainbow fashion, right? And then the Independent.com with a separate story. 2 suspects charged with hate crime in Santa Ynez pride flag thefts and burning. Now, I assume that's Santa Ynez, California, behind Santa Barbara, the mountains behind Santa Barbara. Pair accused of stealing 2 pride flags and burning one, July of 2022. Santa Barbara County District Attorney's Office on Thursday criminally charged 2 individuals with hate crimes for allegedly stealing 2 pride flags and burning one in the Santa Ynez Valley last summer. It was, like a year ago, and they're still rounding up. It's like the Kennedy assassination. Got to take this seriously. According to the district attorney's March 23rd complaint, Avi Stone Williams and Joshua Jerome Elingino. Elingino. They were charged with misdemeanor petty theft and violation of civil rights, hate crime under California law, after allegedly stealing a pride flag from Santa Ynez family's home last year between July 18th and July 20th. And another from St. Mark's in the Valley Episcopal Church in Los Olivos between July 27 and July 28, burning one of the flags. The complaint does not specify which flag was burned, but alleges the suspects knowingly did so to intimidate and interfere with the victims' free exercise and enjoyment of rights. Free exercise and enjoyment of rights. That's the thing. Including sexual orientation, protected by state and U.S. constitutions and laws. All of that. You got the state constitution, state laws, the national constitution, national laws. So this is really terrible. And it's a beautiful area, Santa Ynez Valley. I lived in Santa Barbara. Oh, look at what I did to the clock. Isn't that crazy? Yes, sir. Crazy man, crazy. Yeah, I got stories all over the place. And here's one from BBC. 15 years in Iowa jail for burning pride flag. The BBC News reported. Here's a guy, he's a bearded guy. U.S. judge handed down a sentence of at least 15 years to a man who stole an LGBT pride flag from a church and burned it outside a strip club. That seems more appropriate, bringing it to the strip club, you know.
I'm burning this flag as a protest to that illegal fascist president that sits in that house.
Yeah, crazy story out of Ames, Iowa in 2019. A man named Adolfo Martinez pulled down a pride flag from a church, and he burned it at a strip joint. Interesting juxtaposition there. And he was given at least 15 years in prison for that, which is pretty crazy. Let's go to the telephones, Mike. Let's go to Gary calling from the great state of Arkansas. Gary, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Chris, it's a pleasure. How are you, my friend?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Well, I just wanted to mention, if you remember back in 1976 over at Dodger Stadium, a gentleman by the name of Rick Monday swooped in and saved the flag from two Democratic protesters trying to burn the flag.
You know, it's funny you mention that because we actually have the audio for you of that event of Rick Monday's Chicago Cub. Two lefties came out with a flag, drenched it in gas, tried to set it on fire in center field, and Rick Monday sprinted by, grabbed the flag, and ran into the applause of the crowd.
Two of them. All right. I'm not sure what he's doing out there. It looks like he's going to burn a flag, and Rick Monday runs and takes it away from him. And so Monday, I think a guy was going to set fire to the American flag. Can you imagine that?
That's Vin Scully broadcasting there, Gary. Yeah, great. And the crowd went wild. The entire stadium erupted into a applause, standing ovation for Rick Monday saving the American flag. Now the Democrat Party, they're out in the field with gas.